3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the place yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Tuesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and of course streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN. That is 888-710-4476 is the number to jump on board with us. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. Kevin Hovde is going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. He's an assistant on the Florida Gators men's basketball staff, and he's also the new head basketball coach at Columbia. So doing a little double dip. We'll get his thoughts on the Final Four, which he'll be coaching in as an assistant for Florida, going up against Bruce Pearl's Auburn Tigers. And then at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time today, 2:20 p.m. Pacific, we will connect with a former defensive end at SMU with the Mustangs, Elijah Roberts, as we will do a little prospect profile with him. as he gets set to figure on out where he's going to hear and when he's going to hear his name called in the NFL draft. We're 23 days away from the first round of the NFL draft. And let's start with the draft. And I believe that Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 overall pick to the Tennessee Titans. After that, that's when I think the draft really can get funky. Now, there's been different wavelengths. I would say 3 weeks ago, a lot of people were on Shedeur Sanders to the Browns at 2. Then 2 weeks ago, it was Abdul Carter to the Browns at 2. And now today, the name that is emerging for the Cleveland Browns is Travis Hunter. This is Darryl Ryder, longtime Cleveland Browns reporter for 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland and Odyssey Station. He tweeted this out today. I'm 100% convinced of the following with the Kirk Cousins to Cleveland train rolling down the tracks again. Number 1, the Browns are not drafting Shedeur Sanders. Number 2, Travis Hunter is the pick at 2. And then number 3, they will draft the QB in the middle rounds, use higher picks on impact players. So I guess the flavor of the week is Travis Hunter now to the Cleveland Browns with the 2nd overall pick. But it's not just Darryl Ryder having it on out there. Let's listen up. This is Tony Rizzo, who longtime talk show host ESPN Cleveland. He thinks the Browns are going with Travis Hunter as well with the 2nd overall pick.
Based on everything I've seen, all the information I have, I think the Cleveland Browns are taking Travis Hunter right now. I do. To me, the elephant in the room is your offense stinks. And here is a once-in-a-lifetime two-way star. If he contributes on one side of the ball, like I think he can, I'll be happy with whatever they decide to do with him. Like, let's say Denzel Ward goes out. 1 week, you'll put Travis Hunter at corner. You could do that.
Then let's also hear from Tony Grossi, who he had 2 big takeaways after hearing from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. Obviously, the league meetings, the owner meetings are underway, and you have all the general managers and all the head coaches there. They are talking as well. And Tony Grossi was on with Tony Rizzo, and you had this encounter.
They really like Kenny Pickett and is confident that he could be the starting quarterback on day 1, game 1. 3 times today, Kevin Stefanski came back to saying, I'm really excited about Kenny. Kenny's our guy. Kenny's our guy. Okay, so if you accept that, okay, it probably means they're passing on a quarterback at number 2. Because if you picked a quarterback at 2, you wouldn't be building up Kenny Pickett at all. So my other take off of this is that I really think they like Travis Hunter as their pick at 2 if they stay there.
So there you go, Tony Grossi talking about his takeaways, that they really like Kenny Pickett, and then because of that, they'll go Travis Hunter at 2. I am willing to admit that even though I think something should happen, when I start to get the sense that it won't happen. Like, I'm okay with differentiating my opinions on what should and then what will happen. I will continue to say this until the cows come home. Absolutely, positively, the Cleveland Browns should take Shedeur Sanders. The more and more, though, that comes out in the last 3 weeks, where it's gone from Shedeur to then Abdul Carter to now Travis Hunter, we shift further and further away of Shedeur Sanders going to the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm still not able to wrap my head around Kenny Pickett being the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns come week 1. I still believe that other domino that's going to fall is Kirk Cousins. But even with all that being said, as I said this to John Fanta yesterday, where he was like, I would go with Abdul Carter. And I said, I understand what you're saying, but John, you have no hope at the quarterback position. So when Jimmy Haslam yesterday comes out and says, I apologize, and this is on me, the whole Deshaun Watson stuff, that means nothing to me. The move was made. I understood why you made the move at the time, even though Deshaun Watson is a deplorable human being. At the time, he wasn't in a jail cell. At the time, he was going to be allowed to play football after the suspension. And at the time, we viewed Deshaun Watson as a top 10 quarterback in football. So I understand when you separate being a good human being and then trying to build a winning football team, why the Cleveland Browns went all in on Deshaun Watson and why they elected to bring him to Cleveland. Now, it didn't work out, but you were willing to roll the dice with multiple first-round picks. You were willing to roll the dice on a guaranteed contract and annoyed the rest of the league. But that same regime here now with the second overall pick isn't willing to take a chance on Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, who has zero off-the-field problems. Shedeur Sanders, who was very good at Jackson State. Shedeur Sanders, who was very good at Colorado. So I don't understand why the Browns, it feels like they're not going to take Shedeur Sanders. And if their plan is Kenny Pickett over Shedeur Sanders, I don't get that one. If their plan is Kirk Cousins over Shedeur Sanders, I still don't get that one. Now, I'm cognizant of the fact that when I think of the best players in this draft, Abdul Carter to me is 1 and Travis Hunter is 2. That's how I rank them. And you're getting the second best player, in my opinion, if you take Travis Hunter in the draft. But you either have a quarterback in this league or you don't. And the Browns have taken many chances, and they've taken many chances on quarterbacks. And I know there's different regimes, but this was the regime that brought in Deshaun Watson. Like, how much more time are you going to get after that massive mistake? You only get so many opportunities. So even though Travis Hunter is viewed as the better player, even though an Abdul Carter is viewed as a better player, you have Myles Garrett, right? I don't think you need to take a player like Abdul Carter, even though I think he's the best player in the draft. You have Denzel Ward. Now, Travis Hunter can help you at corner and at wide receiver, and we'll see how the Browns specifically use him. But the Browns still do have Jerry Jeudy. Now, is Denzel Ward a better corner than Travis Hunter? I don't think so, but Denzel Ward's very damn good. Is Jerry Jeudy a better wide receiver than Travis Hunter? I don't think so, but Jerry Jeudy had a very good season in Cleveland last year. So if you have a wide receiver and you have a corner, to me, and you have an elite edge rusher, and honestly, either the first or second best defensive player in the NFL, why would you take Abdul Carter or why would you take Travis Hunter when you don't have a quarterback? And that's the part that I'll channel my inner Juju Smith-Schuster here, and it will probably age a lot better for me than it did for Juju. This is why the Browns is the Browns, right? What is your plan at quarterback if you say no to Shedeur Sanders? And why are you saying no to Shedeur Sanders? Because I'll even admit, do I view Shedeur Sanders as an elite quarterback? Do I view him as a great quarterback? Right now, no. But I think he's a good quarterback. And I think he could be good in the NFL. So sure, Abdul Carter could go be a 13, 14, 15 sack year guy. You already got Myles Garrett. Travis Hunter could go be a dual threat superstar that we have never seen really before at that level of the NFL. But you do got Jerry Jeudy. You do got, in addition to Denzel Ward. Where's the drop-off? Like, yes, Travis Hunter. Yes, Abdul Carter. Yes, you have pieces there. You have guys there. Look at the drop-off, though, from these options to Shedeur Sanders to Kenny Pickett. Or Shedeur Sanders to old man Kirk Cousins. Like, what doesn't belong? What makes you say, oh, that's a hole in our football team? If I tell you what, the Browns get Travis Hunter, great. Got another wide receiver, got another corner. If I tell you the Browns draft Abdul Carter, great, you got another pass rusher. You already have, though, a Denzel Ward, a Jerry Jeudy, and a Myles Garrett. If I tell you pass on Shedeur Sanders, maybe you get Kirk Cousins? And what happens if you can't get Kirk Cousins? Then you're going with Kenny Pickett. Which one isn't survivable? And you don't even know what condition Kirk Cousins is walking into. That's why I would take Shedeur Sanders. That's why I think, even though he's not the best player on the board, there's a greater need at a position that is a lot more important than the other two that we're mentioning. So, let's continue to rock and roll in Cleveland. Here is Peter Schrager, newly of the ESPN. He was on with the Pat McAfee show. And Peter Schrager is talking about Kirk Cousins maybe going to the Browns, which would put more merit to this idea that the Browns are passing on Shedeur Sanders and maybe they're taking Travis Hunter at 2?
The Browns thing makes a lot of sense for two big reasons. One, there's a gaping hole at quarterback. I mean, Pickett could hold the fort, but he's not your only option. And then two, Stefanski and Cousins have a really good personal relationship. At least in Cleveland, he goes to a quarterback's coach in a whisper that he's got a relationship, a fan base that would be thrilled to have him, and he's an upgrade and he's the quarterback one. But Myles Garrett did say that he knows of a plan at quarterback, and he's comfortable with that plan. I can't imagine it's with a rookie quarterback or it's I'm thrilled to go to war with Kenny Pickett.
So that's what I don't get. Mike, let me just ask you this. You're Myles Garrett. What intrigues you the most out of these three options? Kirk Cousins coming to town? Kenny Pickett being your starting quarterback? Or Shedeur Sanders getting drafted second overall? What would intrigue you the most?
You'd like to say Shedeur because at least there's that unknown and a higher ceiling maybe. But as a veteran like Myles Garrett, who's lost year after year after year, and we know this, so many veterans just don't have the patience for a rookie quarterback and the growing pains they might have. If I'm Myles Garrett, long term, I would say Shedeur for sure. But this dude is just lost year after year after year. He might just be saying, you know what, give me Kirk Cousins, give me 8-9 wins a year until we find the guy, if they don't think that Shedeur is the guy. But if I were Myles Garrett, I would say Shedeur. But I think he's probably thinking Kirk Cousins.
Stu, what would your answer be on this one? If I say you could get Kenny Pickett, you could get Shedeur Sanders, you could get Kirk Cousins, you're Myles Garrett, which one would you want?
I would want Shedeur Sanders because, again, Mike kind of said it, but just the optimism it brings, the potential. You know, it's going to be a top 5 pick. We're not talking about a mid-first rounder, late first rounder, second rounder. Like, this guy's a top 5 pick. You expect that to come in day one and start from day one. So that would be my answer.
Now, I'm not knocking Kirk Cousins because I think Kirk Cousins has been a good quarterback in this league. But I think it's obvious here. I'd rather roll the dice of the unknown of Shedeur Sanders. Clearly, you're not interested in Kenny Pickett with what happened in Pittsburgh in a better environment than Cleveland. And for Kirk Cousins, right, Mike said, you win like 8-9 games a year. All right, for Cleveland, right? He's had some taste of the postseason. You've been to the postseason twice in Cleveland, which is wildly successful. And I like Kirk Cousins. Don't love, but like. But Kirk Cousins was the quarterback at Minnesota from 2018 to 2023. So 2018 to 2023. Here's the win totals for Kirk Cousins from 2018 to 2023. 8-7-1. 10-6, lost in the divisional round. 7-9. 8-9. And then 13-4, lost in the wild card round. 7-10. So you're going to put Kirk Cousins in a lesser situation when those results were all up and down, and you basically had 2 good seasons, and I'm going to expect Kirk Cousins, who just got benched in Atlanta for a younger quarterback, to provide more excitement than Shedeur Sanders. That I don't see. Here is Field Yates on ESPN Cleveland saying the Browns are going either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
I still believe the Browns are less likely to take a quarterback than they are likely to take a quarterback. We shall see, but the indications continue to point towards one of Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. I just think right now my lean is a little bit in the direction of Abdul Carter, but I'd be lying if I said that the winds haven't shifted a bit more in the direction towards Travis Hunter. So, I just don't know definitively. What I can tell you is it will be Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
Now let's do this. Let's say they're not taking Shedeur Sanders. Let's say Cam Ward is the number 1 overall pick to the Tennessee Titans. Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter? Who should the Browns take? Samter?
I'm going Abdul Carter. I think if you pair him up with Myles Garrett, that's going to be the kind of defense that we can talk about carrying a team to the playoffs. Like if you have a competent quarterback and those two guys on defense.
A game manager?
Yeah. If you have Kirk Cousins with that defense, I said 8-9 wins before, but if you have that defense with Denzel Ward on the back end, that legitimately could be the best defense in the NFL. And with that kind of pass rush, with those two guys and Denzel Ward, that could be enough to propel you to
Yeah, the only
a playoff
reason why
run.
I can't get to best defense in the NFL, it'd be a great defense, don't get me wrong, is I still don't know what to expect from the offense. Like, we've seen great defenses, the offense absolutely just shoot themselves in the foot because the quarterback is turnover prone and they're giving them short fields, and the defense is basically sucking wind because they're never off the sideline. They're constantly on the field because the offense is 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That offense is still a major concern for me.
Sure, but if you have Kirk Cousins, the offense won't be great, but I don't think they'll be 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They'll be competent, which is enough.
I think they'll be wildly erratic.
They'll be better than the Ravens' offense was with Trent Dilfer back in 2000, right? So I'm not saying that defense is going to be as good, but like it's going to be a better offense than what Trent Dilfer was leading with the Ravens. So at the very least, if your defense is a top 5 defense and you have Kirk Cousins and a top 18 offense or something like that, that's enough.
Stu, Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter?
I agree with Mike. As much
What's
as
going on? This is weird.
As much as a unicorn that Hunter is, give me the pass rusher. When they're both equal or close to equal, I'd rather have the pass rusher, especially when you have Garrett and you have those two guys. Yeah, I would go Carter.
So I think I've been the biggest advocate for Abdul Carter on national radio. I have consistently said he's the number 1 overall pick. He should be he is the best player in this draft. Not that he will go number 1 overall. I even had a very memorable encounter with Warren Sapp that only enhanced my standing in the Abdul Carter camp. But I actually think the better fit for the Browns here would be Travis Hunter. Because you just paid so much money to Myles Garrett, and I know you just paid a lot of money to Denzel Ward, and I know you have Jerry Jeudy there, but Myles Garrett's the best player out of those 3 by far, and it's not even close. So that dual threat ability of Travis Hunter, where you could give some more oomph on the offensive side of the ball, and then defensively you could also use him as well, depending on how they use Travis Hunter, which is a great question and a great unknown. I actually think it makes more sense for Travis Hunter to get drafted by Cleveland. If the NFL draft first round was today, here's how I think. Not know, but here's how I think the first 5 picks will go. Cam Ward, number 1 to Tennessee. Travis Hunter, number 2 to Cleveland. Shador Sanders, number 3 to the New York Football Giants. Abdul Carter, number 4 to the New England Patriots. And then Mason Graham, sitting there at number 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I tweeted that out. And one prominent NFL analyst has already responded to it. And it was Dan Orlovsky, our guy, Dan Orlovsky, my flying buddy there and back to each and every Super Bowl, I feel like, for the last 4 years. He said, I agree. So I'm not the only NFL pundit or NFL mind or NFL jackass that thinks that's how the first 5 picks of the draft are going to go. Could that be me having some wishful thinking of Abdul Carter going to my Patriots? Potentially, but I think I laid out a very compelling argument. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Oh, boy, Jerry Jones. Jerry. He's running the drama Dallas choking Cowboys playbook to a T. And this time he could be upsetting Micah Parsons, which is all part of the plan. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
We open up the show talking about the idea of the Cleveland Browns passing up on Shedeur Sanders, and a lot of buzz is that Travis Hunter today is going to be the pick at number 2 for the Cleveland Browns. A lot could change 23 days from now when the first round is underway, because I always say this, what you could feel one day with the NFL draft can change the next day with the NFL draft, and what is a crazy, just wild buildup. But Jimmy Haslam was talking yesterday, and he apologized for picking Deshaun Watson and going all in and giving him the money and doing the draft picks for him, and talked about how they took a swing and they did miss. Now, here's the concerning part with Cleveland, though. And I think they should take Shedeur Sanders. I don't think they will, though. But Jimmy Haslam, when talking to ESPN yesterday, said, quote, "It would be great if we could get the quarterback, but we're not going to force it. We're going to be patient, and we're going to try to accumulate as many really good football players as we can." That last part, we're going to try to accumulate as many really good football players as we can, makes me think that they're not taking Shedeur Sanders. It makes me think they're going Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. When he says we're going to be patient and we're going to try to accumulate as many really good football players as we can. And he also said they're not going to force it. If they draft Shedeur at 2, I think it'd be the right move. I'd applaud them. But I think a lot of people say, oh, that's too early for Shedeur Sanders. And that's a mistake that you could make if you're the Cleveland Browns. Because one move didn't work out, and you were so aggressive in pursuing the services of Deshaun Watson, it blew up in your face, then you get timid. Then you don't take risks. And then you wait to the quarterback to eventually come to you. That's something I'm not on board with. I think there's enough with what we've seen from Shedeur, where even if there's questions about him, that still I would give the Cleveland Browns a green light to take Shedeur Sanders at number 2. But then yet again, I'm not running the Cleveland Browns. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let's go to San Antonio. Stu and I will be there tomorrow. And we talk to Kevin in San Antonio. Next up on the Zach Gelb Show.
Zach, I just can't wait for the Final Four. But anyway, the Browns are so dysfunctional they can't even write their name on a sheet of paper. It's the fun. It's the fun.
Could you imagine,
office,
Kevin, if the second pick of the draft comes and goes, and they forget to write a name down, and they mess that up?
Yeah, because it don't make no sense. Every time, that was a waste of money. Watson, when he left San Antonio, not San Antonio, I meant to say he left the Texans to go to the Browns. That was messed up, man. And they paid all that money, but he did not follow up.
No, he was a mess for them. And I know he got injured a bunch, and obviously it was disgusting with what he did off the field. But even with that being said, at the time, I understood why they did it, because the guy was a heck of a quarterback with the Houston Texans, and this was an organization that thought they were getting a great quarterback, but Deshaun Watson ended up being one of the biggest frauds in the history of the NFL, both as a human being and also as a quarterback.
I totally agree with that. He messed up his own career. That's not Houston. I'm a Houston Texas fan. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, well, you know what? Going back to it, Kev. At the time, it's funny how quickly things could change, because we thought we knew a lot about Deshaun Watson. We knew very little. At the time, everyone was against the Texans. They were like dysfunctional, disastrous organization. They're running Deshaun Watson out of town. And then all the allegations came out. And it was like, oh, my goodness gracious, the Deshaun Watson we thought we knew, even with the dysfunctional Texans organization, they both were disasters. But the Texans have found their way. The Texans have restored themselves. They got DeMeco Ryans. They got Will Anderson. They also got, the quarterback in C.J. Stroud. And Cleveland took a swing. It did not work. And Deshaun Watson has been an unmitigated disaster. And he falls into the long line of quarterbacks in Cleveland that just haven't worked out. Appreciate the phone call, as always, Kevin. So, the Browns are a joke. And if I'm a Browns fan, that's a tortured fan base. Why do you think that they're going to finally get this right? That's why, usually I would say, if you don't love a quarterback, don't take him. And I like Shedeur Sanders. I don't love him. But the Browns have been such a mess in missing at the quarterback position. At this point, aren't you just numb to it? If Cleveland takes Shedeur Sanders at 2 and it doesn't work out, so what? How is life any different from you now than it will be 2-3 years from now? It won't be. If you take Abdul Carter, that's not going to change your franchise. And I think the world of Abdul Carter. If you take Travis Hunter, that's not going to uproot and change the direction of your franchise. Getting a quarterback that could be the it quarterback, that could actually change your franchise. All righty. Jerry Jones, a clown. That's the best way I could say it. So Jerry Jones has this playbook when it comes to contracts to delay, drama. Look at Dak Prescott. Look at CeeDee Lamb. And now insert Micah Parsons into the conversation. There is no reason for the drama Dallas choking Cowboys to be a part of the news today. There is no reason for Jerry Jones to take shots at Micah Parsons' agent. There's no reason for Jerry Jones to go directly to Micah Parsons to try to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. Micah Parsons has an agent. If you're not going to use Micah Parsons' agent in these negotiations, then why does Micah Parsons have an agent? It's pointless. So Jerry Jones has no respect for Micah Parsons' agent. He basically told the entire NFL world today that he doesn't even know the name of his agent. And Micah Parsons is now fighting back saying, facts, David is the best, and I will not be doing any deals without David involved. Like anyone with good sense, I hired experts for a reason. There is no one that I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David. There will be no back doors in this contract negotiations. But this is what Jerry Jones does. There is no doubt about it in my mind. I 1,000% believe that Micah Parsons is going to get a long-term deal done and ironed out with the Dallas Cowboys, and money will heal all wounds here. But if you're Jerry Jones, just for the sake of drama and just stirring the pot, you're really going to take a shot at Micah Parsons' agent. It's almost like you're begging Micah Parsons to say, bleep you, you just showed a blatant amount of disrespect to my agent. We're going to play this thing out. We're not going to sign a long-term extension with you. And guess what? I'm great enough where I could get this money elsewhere. And you know what? It would be so just karma, a ton of karma directed to Jerry Jones if all these times where he talks about getting the deals done and doing it his way and how uncomfortable it is and all the drama that's associated with it, I would love for Micah Parsons to say, bleep you and go somewhere else. But I've seen this story play out too many times. Jerry Jones does something unnecessary in negotiations. Jerry Jones makes you wait. And inevitably, Micah Parsons will get that deal done. But Clarence Hill Jr., who covers the Cowboys, he tweeted out, Jerry Jones with blatant disrespect to Micah Parsons' agent, David Mulugeta. The agent is not a concern here. I don't know his name. And David is considered to be one of, and this is what Clarence says, and it's true, one of the best and most respected agents in the NFL. Parsons is wise to have hired David. So it's like, what are we doing here? This is Jerry Jones at the NFL owner meetings on why he went directly to Micah Parsons.
We've had a meeting of the minds.
Why have you not had that same meeting of minds with his agent?
Well, I don't know that, it's I'm the one who has to sign the check, and Michael's the one that has to agree to it. So that's the straightest way to get there is the one writing the check and the one agreeing to it talking. And that's the principle that's involved here. And I understand all the other issues, but as you know, it's not uncommon for me to negotiate directly with players, and I've done that.
So Jerry has a special relationship with his players, don't get me wrong, but I think this is like in any common business. Like, for example, I have an agent. When Spike Eskin used to talk contracts with me, I would say, Spike, contact my agent. That's simple. I don't want to talk money. I don't want to hear the good or the bad that's thrown my way in negotiating contracts. Let me know what you talk about. Bring me in when is necessary. And I'm not saying Jerry can't have a conversation with Micah, but to think that you're just going to be able to freeze out the agent, if that was me, like let's say if Ryan Hurley came to me and had said, hey, we got a new deal for you. We want you to stay. We're giving you X, Y, and Z. And if I just said, oh, I like all the terms, I agree to it, then why am I paying my agent a fee? And like, seriously, why are you giving your agent a cut if that's the case? And are you going to be able to get the best deal that way? Personally, I don't think so. I think the agent is valuable. So it's almost similar here, even though there's a lot more zeros in Micah Parsons' contract than my contract, if we're just being honest. But it's almost as if Jerry knows you could have some conversations, but to think you're just going to be able to jump around the agent, and this is not like some Joe Schmo. This is one of the preeminent agents in the NFL. And you don't think you have to follow the rules like everybody else and go through the agent? And ultimately, Micah Parsons made his stance known. This is not how it's going to work. You're going to go through my agent. So Jerry Jones could call him up and be like, hey, we're going to give you $41 million a year, $42 million deal. Great. Jerry, talk to my agent. Because there's a lot more to a contract than just the years and the money. There's a lot of legal language. There's a lot of other parameters in the contract as well. That, quite frankly, this is why I hire an agent, because I'm not intelligent enough to figure all that other stuff out on my own. So Jerry Jones, this is just Jerry being Jerry. He's a clown. He has turned into a clown, and he does not run his organization based off success being wins. He just runs the success of the organization based off of how much money he's making and how much drama he could stir up. Zach Gelb here with you on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio with the news brief next. Still to come, Kevin Hovde, who is the new head coach at Columbia and is a Florida assistant on Coach Golden's staff. He's going to be coaching the Final Four. He'll join us at the top of the hour. And then Elijah Roberts, the former SMU pass rusher, will stop by. We'll do a little prospect profile with him with the NFL Draft 23 days away. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And we have a riddle sponsored by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com. The tush push is still legal for the moment. NFL owners voted to table discussions on the matter after a 30 to 40-minute conversation today. The dynamic kickoff remains in place with one modification as touchbacks now come out to the 35-yard line. And overtime for the regular season now matches the playoffs, with each team getting a chance to have the ball at least once. Aaron Rodgers could finally have his new home. Longtime Pittsburgh reporter Jerry Dulac reports owner Art Rooney II said he had a good feeling about Rodgers and that signs are pointing in the direction of him signing. Buzz Williams is on the move again, leaving Texas A&M for Maryland. He led the Aggies for 6 years and took them to the tournament in each of the last 3. The NBA handing out disciplinary actions for Sunday's big fight between the Pistons and Timberwolves. Isaiah Stewart of the Pistons got a 2-game ban, while the 4 others who were ejected, including Dante DiVincenzo, just suspended for 1 game. In baseball tonight, the Dodgers go for their 7th straight to open their latest title defense as they continue their series against the Braves. I'm Rich Eckram.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the armed forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. This week's player is Houston's forward, Jawan Roberts, in Sunday's 69-50 win over Tennessee. Good old Rocket Top, not so much. Roberts had 2 steals and a block. Houston, as a team, held Tennessee to just 28% shooting from the field and 70% from beyond the arc. All righty, let's update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We get to a news brief right now.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, let's start it off with Shedeur Sanders. He was hanging out with Gilly the Kid, and obviously Gilly's a big Eagles fan, rapper, all that stuff, blow the whistle. And Shedeur Sanders tells Gilly he's kind of going to the Giants, I guess. Listen up.
That's what you're going to be going against? That's what you're going against? Yeah. You know, that's what it is.
No, dog, you can't come to please, Neff. Go anywhere but the NFC East, man. Please, man.
You're going to have to root against him.
Please, Neff. Please, don't. I want to wear Shedeur Sanders jerseys all year. I can't do that you with the Giants.
So there's a guy in the background. And I was like, you're basically going to have to root against him. Because Gilly is a huge Eagles fan. Like, he ran the team out during playoff games. He's in the locker room. All the players love him. He is, like, turned into the fan mascot, pretty much, for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Shedeur wants to go to the Giants. I think that was evident ever since the Heisman Trophy presentation when he came to town to see Travis Hunter win it, and he was playing catch on the streets of New York City with Malik Neighbors. Like, you were making a scene. You were trying to create a statement there. And we have kind of heard, right, that Coach Prime has said before, like, he wouldn't be afraid to use his voice to try and get Shedeur to go somewhere that he would want to go. The fact that Coach Prime is now saying, I'm good with him being in Nashville or Cleveland or New York. What does Coach Prime know that we don't know? Because there's one thing in saying, I could play that card and I could get you to kind of force my kid to go somewhere that he wants to go to, right? Like, you could do what the Manning family did. But if the Manning family was told, oh, the Chargers are going to pass on him and the Giants are going to take him, they would have never played that card. So the general thought is that Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 pick. I still don't know what's going to happen at 2, even though today's belief makes me think that it's not going to be Shedeur Sanders. So maybe Coach Prime is hearing enough through the back channels where he's like, all right, I don't need to say we're not going to Cleveland. I don't need to use my power and flex my muscles here, which he's capable of doing, because they get a feeling that the Giants are going to take him at 3 and he's going to be available at 3. Now, some could say, well, then why would the Giants bring in Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson? If you look at what the Giants are paying him, what, Russ is on $20-something million? That's nothing for a quarterback. Jameis Winston's on a cheap deal, like really cheap deal. And Shedeur Sanders is going to cost you nothing. So, at least on the first contract. So if you're paying those 3 quarterbacks like what? $27, $28 million? Maybe $30 million most? That's not even what top-of-the-line starting quarterback money is. And you're paying that for potentially 3 quarterbacks per, what, like 1 season? So, yes, you could still take Shedeur Sanders. The Giants are just covering all their, they're checking all their boxes because they can't afford where Shedeur goes to. And then they're sitting there and they only signed Jameis Winston, so that's why they brought in Russell Wilson. Here is Jed York of the 49ers. He said we're going to choose to give Brock Purdy a big deal over signing a lot of free agents and trading away a lot of players that we needed to get rid of to do so.
When you're in a world where everybody is watching the NFL the first week of free agency, or at least the first 3 days of free agency, it's a frenzy, right? Like, you see a huge spike in social following and things like that because it's something to get engaged in. And when you're not overly active in that space, it gets easy to say, you don't want to win. And you don't just have to do things the first 3 days in free agency. I don't know that as we looked at the board that there was somebody that we felt made that type of an impact more so than making the decision to try to go pay Brock. And again, like, you can't pay somebody quarterback money and have all of the other talent around the way we had. Now you have to start filling that piece with the draft.
I don't want to say the 49ers are rebuilding because they didn't tear the entire thing down. But where the 49ers are at right now, it's almost like when you're playing blackjack, right? Hear me out here. And you're up like $300. But then the deck is out and they bring out a new deck of cards and you got to reshuffle the deck. That's what the 49ers are doing. The 49ers are playing with like $300-400 that they have in chips. We know that Brock Purdy's going to be their guy. There's still an unknown of what Brock Purdy's going to be without a Deebo Samuel, right? With McCaffrey hurt. With Kittle, who's tremendous, right? But he's had his fair share of injuries too. Losing some guys on the defensive side of the ball. And you have a good starting point. You're up $300-400. But the deck just got reshuffled and new cards are coming out. And you don't know what cards are going to the dealer and what cards are going to yourself. And that $300-400 that you have with a good foundation can be gone in a snap of a finger. That's where the Niners are right now. Now, they're hoping they're going to give Brock Purdy all this money, and the cards are going to just keep on coming on out, and they're going to still be a damn good football team and be more like what they've been the last 2 to 5 years rather than what they were last year. But you truly don't know, because the great multi-million-dollar question here, pun intended, with Brock Purdy is not only are you going to pay him, but was he a product of the system? Or is there a different degree when the system is not as talented as it once was? And that's still the great unknown. Here is Art Rooney II on Aaron Rodgers.
Nothing new on the Aaron Rodgers front. We'll see what happens, and hopefully we'll know something soon.
Are you content to wait?
Well, not forever, but a little while longer.
Did you envision it taking this long and playing out the way that it has?
No, didn't envision it taking this long, no.
There have now been some photos and videos of him throwing with DK Metcalf. Do you view it as a good thing? You're trying to read the tea leaves to figure out which way he's leaning? Things like that?
I mean, I would say it was a good sign that he wanted to do that. And, we keep hearing that, he's, I guess, headed in our direction. And so it seems to be all signs are positive so far.
When will the white smoke emerge? When will we see the white smoke? Because I don't believe it's a matter of if Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with the Steelers. It's just when. And if you want to talk about really where Aaron Rodgers should go, it should be to the Cowboys. And you'd be like, well, I have Dak Prescott. But Aaron Rodgers is a drama whore. Jerry Jones is a drama whore. They would deserve one another. Because you think Jerry's drama is ridiculous. What the heck is Aaron doing here? You got no options, dude. Your options are literally retire or go to the Steelers. That's it. The Vikings said thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, the Giants want you. But oh, wait. They weren't waiting anymore because they knew that you didn't want to go there. And they knew that you weren't going to go there. So they signed Russell Wilson. So now it's either retire or go to the Steelers. And we know you don't want to retire. Enough with the nonsense. So the tush push got tabled, banning the tush push. It's not going to happen yet. It shouldn't happen. Matt LaFleur and the Packers were the ones that were pushing to ban the tush push. That's a tongue twister there. Matt LaFleur, who lost to the Eagles not once but twice this year, on why they oppose the tush push.
Just when you look at the play, I would say I don't think it's a great football play. It's more of a rugby play. And then some of the injury concerns, we just want to kind of get out in front of that, and be a little bit more proactive than that.
And even though you guys ran it a few times, like with the tight end,
yeah,
you still feel that way?
We do it too. But we're going to adjust, to whatever the rules may be. And if it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through.
Can Sean McDermott and Matt LaFleur just shut up? You keep on, at least make a good argument. Oh, we're concerned about the injuries. No one has got hurt from the tush push. It'd be one thing if the Eagles are dropping like flies. Or the Buffalo Bills, who run it a lot too, were getting injured from it. No one has gotten hurt from the tush push. You are pushing a false agenda. You are pushing a false narrative. You, I'm going to sound like Trump here, are fake news. That's what you are right now, Matt LaFleur. That's what you are right now, Sean McDermott. Oh, we're afraid of the injuries. We're trying to get in front of it. There's been no injuries. Zero. Goose egg. So stop mentioning the injuries. And it's just ironic to me. You play a lethal sport. Oh, we're concerned about the player safety of it. This is not an unsafe play. They just don't like it and they have no answer for it. That's the reality of the situation. Take a break. Talk some Final Four next. Florida assistant new coach at Columbia, Kevin Hovde, will join us next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, hour number 2 of our radio program. That's right. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast nationally on the Infinity Sports Network. A double congratulations to Kevin Hovde. Not only are the Florida Gators going to the Final Four, they'll play Saturday night up against Auburn. He's also the new men's head basketball coach right here in the city at Columbia, and he's kind enough to join us right now. Coach, really appreciate you jumping on board with us. I'm sure it's a busy time for you. Thanks for doing this.
No, of course. Thank you so much for having me, Zach.
So watching your Florida team this year, and we'll talk Columbia in just a bit, especially in the tournament, and we know how hot you guys were going into the NCAA tournament. There was a great moment of resiliency up against UConn, and then we saw an extra moment of resiliency with the Final Four spot on the line against Texas Tech when you guys were down 9 points with a little over 3 minutes to go. Just how about the toughness that team displayed when their backs are up against the wall? They found a way to get the job done.
Yeah, I think it really shows the character of our team. And obviously, we've won a lot of games together this year. So, even though being down 9, late in the game, I think our confidence really never wavered. Even in the under 4 media timeout, just looking around at the guys and the coaches. And I think we all felt like we were going to find a way. And obviously had to make some big shots. A couple guys stepped up, and next thing you know, the game's tied, and then we take the lead, and all of a sudden we're shooting free throws to try to ice the game. So just absolutely amazing finish to the game.
With how long you've been doing this, you've had thrilling moments along the way, but these stakes are the highest that they've been. And sometimes it takes a while to process a crazy victory, a moment of euphoria like that. Did you realize what you guys did in the moment, or did it take a little bit for it to sink in?
It was. I think it's still sinking in. Honestly, it was really really special and obviously high stakes, and it just happened so quickly because our game in the Elite Eight was Saturday night, and only 8 days before was our first round game against Norfolk State. So just to be in the Final Four, obviously just an amazing thing. Most coaches dream of being able to go coach in a Final Four. And honestly, I'm just still pinching myself that we're going to get to go out there and play on Saturday, and hopefully win 2 more games this weekend.
Kevin Hovde here with us, assistant at Florida, is the new men's head basketball coach at Columbia. It also feels fake because when I watch Walter Clayton Jr., he just doesn't seem real. He seems like he's a video game type of player. Just what is it like? I know he came over for Iona, has been in the program the last few years. What has it been like to just coach him?
It's been unbelievable. Obviously, one of, if not the best player in the country. His obviously shot making and talent is on full display. But the thing that's amazing about Walt is his confidence. He's truly he's the most confident player I've ever coached, and that's evident with some of the shots he takes and makes. But it's real. It's real confidence being around him every day, and not many guys have that where they truly believe they're the best player on the court. And it's just such a luxury for us to have, obviously, because he can take over a game late, but also throughout the course of a game, he's such a great player that when things aren't going well, or maybe you don't have a great possession, and he can bail you out by going to get a basket or make a play.
You know this as a coach. There's always a moment when a play is happening where you're like, no, 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 and then it goes in, and you're like, yes. That moment late where he stops right in front of the rim and then dribbles out and shoots a 3 and it goes in. Was that the definition of a moment like that?
Yeah, it was, but I've seen him do it before in games and obviously every day in practice. So, I do not take it for granted by any means, but we are used to seeing the amazing shot making. But for him to have the poise and confidence to do it on that stage is just unbelievable. And again, it's just a testament to who he is and how hard he works.
I know that you're so focused on the in-game details, but do you sometimes just get lost because when you watch him? Because I've said this about him. I think Cooper Flagg's the best player in the country, but he's the most entertaining player to watch in college basketball. Does your jaw even drop sometimes when you watch him?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, he's so fun to watch. Obviously, the shot making is amazing, but his fluidity, his change of pace, how easy he can make things look is really fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, obviously sitting there getting a front row seat to it is pretty special.
How do you think his game kind of translates to the next level? Because we know how reliant the NBA game is on the three-point shot. I know that this is big praise, but when I watch him, it kind of feels a little bit like Steph Curry at Davidson, just on a bigger stage at a bigger program like Florida.
I agree. I'll be really interested. Again, I've talked to him about that. Like, hey, why can't you try to be Stephen Curry? Like how he was in college. And, I think Steph might average like 28 or something. He was ridiculous, but it is similar. Just the shot making, the ability to concentrate, how deep he can make shots from. So I just think there has to be a great role for him in the NBA is how I feel. And I know he's going to work as hard as he can. He's a great kid. He's an awesome locker room guy. And all those things are great advantages as well as he tries to make that jump to the NBA.
Now that's the highest of standards, the greatest three-point shooter ever. When you say to a kid like that, hey, why can't you be Steph Curry? How does he kind of process that? And what was his response to you?
Well, I mean, I think in his heart of hearts, he's just such a believer. And again, that's what makes him special. And it is unique that we're able to have those conversations. But again, I think it speaks to his confidence, how much we believe in him, how much I believe in him, and then the belief that he has in himself. I have no doubt that, he's obviously has the job to do to finish this thing at Florida the right way. And that's what he's zeroed in on. But I have no doubt that he's going to, have a very successful career in the NBA.
Kevin Hovde here with us. College basketball changes so much. Now we're in this transfer portal era. I know not everyone has transferred in this season, but 4 out of your 5 starters have transferred in to the program. How did you guys develop that synergy and that trust? Because I always say the transfer portal is like speed dating. You may think when you match, you know what you're getting into, but until you get to know the person, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of things. Number one, for us, we're really data driven in kind of everything that we do. So when we're evaluating a transfer, the first thing we're going to dive into is his advanced statistics. And that's something that we feel like, gives you an advantage when you are recruiting a transfer, because you are going to have some data from, Division One, whether it's the same level or maybe a lower level. So that's the first thing that we look at. Do the numbers align? Are they good enough numbers wise? And then the second piece is the eye test. And sometimes you can have a guy that has really has great statistics analytically, but maybe his game won't necessarily translate to the SEC because maybe he's a little slow, or for whatever reason could be taking advantage of smaller guys at a lower level, or however that may be. So when those two boxes are checked, and then the third and most important part becomes the personality piece, and that's where you have to get to know him quickly in recruiting. And we talk about it all the time. This formula has worked every stop we've been at. We brought it to Florida, is getting guys here that have great attitudes, great work ethics, and really want to be Florida Gators. And those three things are non-negotiables for us. So, when we're recruiting transfers, even though it's a quicker recruitment process, we're really trying to dig in and make sure that the guys that we bring into the program fit the way we are at Florida.
You mentioned playing in the SEC. It's fitting that we have two SEC schools remaining, Auburn and Florida. We had Bruce Pearl on the show yesterday. Kevin Hovde is here with us, assistant on the Florida basketball team, and obviously is off to Columbia whenever this run does end. Maybe 2 more games potentially, with the one shining moment on Monday night. But whenever nationally we talk about the SEC, it's usually, all right, they're the preeminent football conference. And then the Big Ten and them have kind of been even the last few years. Big Ten maybe jumping them a little bit with the 2 last national championships. But in basketball, 14 teams in the tournament. You have 2 teams in the Final Four. What has it been like to be a part of just this dominance in the SEC?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And, obviously the best, or one of the best conference slates ever. And, I think you can look at it one of 2 ways. I think there are some people who are like, oh, this is so hard night in, night out. But I think you have to look at it as just an incredible opportunity every night, and just be thankful that you get to compete in this incredible league where every night anybody can beat you. There wasn't one team on our schedule in conference play that couldn't come in and beat you. So, the preparation and, how much goes into it is so important. You have to be even more prepared. And, again, it was awesome to go through it. And, I think it obviously made us into the team that we are. And, hopefully we can go this weekend and win 2 more games.
I'm a big fan of Elijah Martin. I remember him at FAU. I love Dusty May's teams, and he's done an incredible job now at Michigan in his first year, winning the Big Ten and getting to a Sweet 16. But his experience that he's brought to your program, being able to go on one of these long runs in March, just could you place a value on having that with you?
No, I mean, he's been amazing, and really all season, really when he stepped foot on campus in the summer last June, and right away he just raised the bar in a lot of areas of our program. And we felt like we had a good season last year, kind of broke through and made the NCAA tournament, did some good things, but really adding Elijah and just his championship pedigree was so important for us, because just all the details, little things, and kind of the day in, day out work that it takes to be a championship level program. He had a great understanding of that, and he's also willing to hold everyone accountable, which is obviously very important as well.
If memory serves me right, the tourney last year, you guys had that thriller up against Colorado. For the guys that stayed, just what did that kind of do to get that little taste to propel you guys not only going on this run, but being consistently one of the best teams in the country this year?
Yeah, I think the big lesson for that was that we really had to improve on the defensive side of the ball. So that was a good thing going into the offseason. I think we gave up over 100 points in regulation in that game. So it just left a bad taste in our mouth. And when we got the group back together and started summer workouts with the new team, I think it was easy for us as a coaching staff and as a program to kind of have a plan and emphasize how we were going to get better defensively. And that's really what we did. We worked on it every day. We put a ton of time into it and kind of established a grittier mentality on that side of the ball. And it showed up. I think we're top 10 in adjusted defensive efficiency this year. And that's the reason that we've really been able to make that jump, because we were pretty confident that with our personnel and our firepower that we'd be able to score the ball well enough. But breaking through defensively was really the key for why this team is great.
I know Thomas Howe, had a really good season for you guys, but, in this tournament, you have a game like what he had in the Elite Eight, he gets more recognition than he's ever received. To see him have that moment once again with your backs up against the wall, with him needing to deliver, just what did that kind of mean to you?
It was everything. I mean, he's obviously a great player, extremely versatile. The thing that makes him a great player is his competitiveness. He's one of the most competitive players I've ever coached, and his work ethic is amazing. He's in the gym all the time, working on his game, unafraid to fail, has real belief in himself because of the work that he puts in. So, to see him do it on that stage, it was amazing. And, he's had great games for us this year. He's had 20-point games. He's obviously a huge part of our success, but for him to play that well and then finish the game with the back-to-back threes that kind of kept us in it was special for sure.
Coach Golden for a long time. You guys were assistants back in the day. I guess you could say now at Columbia, which it's wild that you were now going to be their head coach. What was that like, those early years with Coach Golden as assistants?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah, we met each other back in 2012. He came to Columbia, so that was like 13 years ago, and worked together at Columbia and then San Francisco, and got to be a part of when he first became a head coach. I stayed with him, was on his staff, so I got to see him make that transition, and then obviously coming down here to Florida with him, and it's just been unbelievable. He's really the closest thing I have to a brother, and we've been working together. I think we have a great working relationship. He trusts me, which has been amazing for me, for my own personal development, my career development. So, just so thankful for that relationship. And, obviously we'll always remain, very close no matter what.
And now when you go on a run like this at a program like Florida with their background, he becomes a household name in the coaching community. Just for you, how do you describe the type of coach he is with how many different stops you've been there with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just supremely confident, and he's always been that way. We always say he's like the perfect amount of being the perfect amount of being irrational. But that's what you need. That's what you need in order to really break through and do this at such a high level. He's special that way, and he instills belief in the program, in his players. You can tell he's a quote unquote players coach as far as just the way he interacts with them on the court and the emotion that he shows. And I think that's a big reason that we were able to come back when we were down 9 with our backs against the wall late in that game. Is probably the confidence that he's instilled in them all year. I think there wasn't a moment where he thought we were gonna lose that game, and that translates to the guys. So, I think he's very talented and has so many strengths, but that belief and confidence that he can instill in his players is really special and unique. I haven't seen many that can do that.
It's got to be a whirlwind for you because, right, you have a new job upcoming at Columbia, right? Big job for you in the Ivy League, and now you're in the Final Four. Just how do you kind of manage both of these things right now?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a whirlwind, but obviously great, all good things. And it's been great, honestly. And finishing this thing out with Florida, obviously with this team, like I'm so thankful that I get to do that and go try to win a national championship this weekend. And also getting started up at Columbia. I was actually able to sneak up there for a day last week. We had an off day, and I was able to fly up to New York to meet the team in person and do some individual meetings, which was awesome. Got a great group of guys in there that really want to be good, and so that makes me feel great about it. And just looking forward to trying to finish this thing out the right way at Florida, and then right away getting up to New York and getting going.
No, we got to get you to the good restaurants in New York City.
Sure.
I'm sure you miss some of that New York food, right?
Of course. No question. No question. I was there for 5 years, so I got a little taste of it, but excited about that part for sure.
What is a Kevin Hovde basketball program going to look like at Columbia?
Yeah, I think number one, really consistent. That's something I talk to the guys about, but I think that's the most important thing for me is having great consistency across all parts of the program. So, meaning what we work on and how we play, how we communicate with our guys, just every part of the program. I think that's a really important thing for, any program being good. I think as far as style of play, it'll hopefully be similar to Florida. We're going to play up-tempo, fast-paced. We'll have a good continuity where all 5 guys get to touch the ball and make decisions. It's not just dependent on 1 or 2 guys. And then defensively, again, similar. We're going to play as a team. We're going to help each other out. I think one thing that I'm really excited about is, the kind of guys that you can attract to Columbia are obviously intelligent guys that are high achievers, and we need to use that to our advantage in how we coach and how we play.
For you, going up against Auburn on Saturday, I know you guys played them earlier in February, and you guys got a victory up against them. They're a tremendous basketball team. There's a reason why they're the #1 overall seed in the tournament. I can't wait for this one. Just what stands out to you about Coach Pearl's program?
Oh, I mean, he's everything. I mean, they're a great program. Obviously, we're really familiar because of Todd's relationship and his experience there. But yeah, I mean,
coached him in the Maccabi games, Bruce Pearl, back in 2009. That's wild.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So, no, but obviously, great team, super well coached with great players. It'll be a tremendous challenge. And just like we did up there, like we played well up there, but we need to do a great job taking care of the ball. We can't give them any swing plays in a game this big. So it gets down to defending, rebounding, taking care of the ball, and digging in on those 3 things, and trusting that your guys are going to go out there and make plays. So I think we're obviously working on it as hard as we can right now, and we'll do everything we can to make sure the guys are prepared and ready to go.
Take me through what you think's going to be going through your mind when you walk out in San Antonio Saturday evening as that ball's about to get thrown up in the air.
Yeah, no, it's I'm sure it'll be surreal, just the sheer size and magnitude of the arena. Playing in a game with that many people there is incredible. But when it gets down to it, I think, and honestly, the experience in the SEC and how high level program Florida is, it does, even though I've never coached in the Final Four, I think it does help because there's been so many huge games that we've gone into. Playing Tennessee at home is a huge game in Gainesville. So and all these games, the SEC championship. So we've been in really big games, and I think the key for that is you kind of have to be able to block that out and compartmentalize it and really focus on what's going on in the game. And we'll be zeroed in on making sure that we do that, and I'm confident that we'll be able to do that, especially as the game settles in.
Well, Coach, once again, double congratulations. Final Four, the job at Columbia. We'll have to come out there and catch a game next year, but really appreciate the time and good luck this weekend. Enjoy it.
Thanks so much, Zach. Really appreciate it.
There he is, Kevin Hovde, the Florida assistant, also the new head basketball coach at Columbia, kind enough to spend 20 minutes with us to preview a little Final Four, talk about his journey right here on the Zach Gelb Show. We'll take a break. There is one player who it doesn't look like he's going to get a deal done with this current team, but it's something we need to keep an eye on because he's very important to the success of that team. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. We'll tell you who that player is when we return in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
I have to admit something, and it's been on my mind for the last hour and 25 minutes. Because I believe, right, our radio show community, we shouldn't lie to one another. And I've been a huge advocate, leading the charge. When you eat wings, you smother them in blue cheese. Last night, I was put in a compromising position, though. I went to a phenomenal restaurant in Brooklyn called Laser Wolf. Really cool concept. They give you like unlimited appetizers on a platter. So it's like a bunch of different dips that you have. They give you like a unlimited pita bread as well. And they have different kind of, cups that they put on this platter of just totally different things. So wonderful. And then we got a steak. We got some French fries. And they have really good wings there. Never been to this restaurant before. So I sit down, look at the menu, and I look at the wings. And it says the wings come with tahina ranch. That's what I see it as. And I'm like, come again? Ranch? I go, ugh. You don't have blue cheese? They go, no. So the wings come. I pick up the wing. Did not dip it in the ranch. Refused to. Eat the wing. Wing is sensational. Really damn good. And then I said, I got to try the ranch because it's a special ranch. And I tried it. Not as good as blue cheese, let's be clear. But since it was a special ranch, it was adequate. It was good. Now, I didn't dip the other wings that I had in the ranch again. Some of the french fries, maybe a little pita as well. But still, I was in a tough spot last night because of how outspoken I've been, being the voice for the voiceless when it comes to the chicken wing community about blue cheese over ranch. But I was at a place last night where I was told the wings are to die for, and they served the wings with the certain style ranch. Not like the normal ranch. It was a different type of ranch. It was very spicy ranch, too. But this was on my mind for an hour and 25 minutes, and I just didn't know how to come clean with you guys about this.
I'm glad you did.
Because you're a ranch guy, right?
I am, yes.
And Samter, I forget your stance on this. Ranch or blue cheese?
I'm definitely a ranch guy. However, I'm not anti-blue cheese. I just prefer ranch. So, like, for you, I guess you are anti-ranch.
Oh, I hate ranch.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, right? There's one thing about being ranch over blue cheese over ranch, but you're anti-ranch. You're not even like
I just don't think ranch is good.
It's just I don't get it, man.
It's a simple concept. My taste buds don't like it.
It came straight down from heaven, ranch.
No, it didn't.
I mean, it was touched by an angel.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, those spices in the ranch. Oh, and the buttermilk, the creaminess. Oh, there's nothing better. And a spicy ranch, a chipotle ranch maybe. Oh, give it to me. But again, I think a lot of people
Calm that down there. I think you're getting moist.
I'm getting something. I think a lot of people prefer ranch or blue cheese, but not most people are anti one or the other. I'm not anti blue cheese. I'm just pro ranch.
I actually think it's a societal issue and it's a geographic issue. And Jonathan Taylor opened my eyes to that. He's a blue cheese guy. Northeast guy, though. You get down south, like we're going to Texas, right? I think Texas is more of a ranch community. So, Stu, you need to be careful here.
Uh-oh.
When I'm in Texas with you starting tomorrow, if they offer me ranch, do not let me try it. I have reached my ranch limit, my ranch quota for the year, and there will be no more ranch going into
Did you enjoy the wings last night with the special ranch on it?
I thought they were fine. I thought they were better without the ranch.
Try it when you're there. Just try it.
No, I'm not. Regular ranch sucks. It blows.
When was the last time you had regular ranch?
I don't know. Like, what do I sit there and I when I get wings, I like blue cheese.
No, what I'm saying is, when was the last time you've had regular ranch?
I would say a year ago. I was at a place and I asked for blue cheese and they brought out ranch by mistake and I took my wing, my drumstick, I dunked it into the ranch and I put it into my mouth and I said, "Nope. That's not good. That's not blue cheese."
Okay. All I'm saying is taste buds change. Maybe you don't hate ranch now as much as you used to hate ranch.
I just think it was a really damn good restaurant, and they could have put anything on a plate, and it would have been good there last night.
I'm just trying to open your eyes to the deliciousness of ranch.
That's just an oxymoron. It's not a delicious thing. It's just not. Anyway, Buffalo, known for what? Wings and blue cheese. Brandon Beane, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills. Look at that transition. That's why I'm good at my job, folks. I just earned some wings and some blue cheese. Barbill, hit me up. Let's get a sponsorship going. Brandon Beane, though, on the lack of an extension right now for James Cook and why these talks are really going nowhere.
We moved on to the guys that, we were more on the same page with. And, at this point, Sal, we're on to the draft. I don't see us doing any deals anytime soon. We're going to focus on the draft and getting our cap in order. But again, just because we don't have James signed today doesn't mean next year we still can't get him done before he gets to free agency.
And they could also go the franchise tag route. Like, look how ugly it got. Look how muddy it got with Saquon Barkley. James Cook is a very good player. A big reason why I thought the Buffalo Bills last year were going to be better than what people thought is my belief in James Cook. James Cook wants like $15 million a year. I don't think he's getting that right now. Don't get me wrong. James Cook is a very good running back. 2 years ago, 1,100 yards. Last year, got 1,000 yards. He is a very good running back. Had 2 receiving touchdowns as well last year. 16 rushing touchdowns this year, so 18 total touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills. I think James Cook is a very good player. But with that being said, you look at the Bills. The Bills' approach right now is kind of this. We know we got Josh Allen, right? So as long as we have Josh Allen, we have the second best quarterback in football, a guy that puts up prodigious stats. We just took away Stephon Diggs, and did he miss a beat? If anything, the Bills actually were better this year than what they were in Stephon Diggs' final season with the Buffalo Bills. Now, they locked up Khalil Shakir. They're going to need Keon Coleman to break out and then take that next step. Ray Davis, when given his opportunities, was good last year for the Buffalo Bills. They brought in Joshua Palmer. You need Dalton Kincaid to explode onto the scene this year because he's been underwhelming. But I think James Cook, from where they were the second half of the season 2 years ago when they went to Joe Brady, then what Joe Brady asked of him to do, James Cook is worthy of giving an extension. But how ugly is Buffalo going to let this thing play on out? Because if this continues to a spot where James Cook's like, bleep this, it's like, what leverage do you actually have? I don't think you have that much leverage, because if Brandon Beane wants to get this thing ugly, if he wants to get it like a wing going into ranch, which is just an ugly, despicable thing to do, then they could franchise tag him. And I believe that this is going to play on out, and James Cook has not been afraid to speak his mind. James Cook has been very transparent about this. I don't think he's in a position where it behooves him to miss games, but you never know, right? Like, I wouldn't put it past him. So this is something to monitor, that they're not even having conversations. The question is, can you get to a middle ground? Because Buffalo may look at him as expendable because it's the nature of the running back position, even though, right, we just saw what Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry did this past year. So this is something to watch, because right now, outside of Josh Allen, and we look at wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, forget offensive linemen just for a second. But if you look, you take Josh Allen off the table and you just say, out of the running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, who's the best option? Who's the best weapon for Buffalo? It's James Cook. And you already got rid of Stephon Diggs. I think that this could get through this season fine, but you're going to inevitably have to pay James Cook. And how much are you willing to pay? And remember, Brandon Beane, who's his disciple? Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen has that very ugly negotiations with Saquon Barkley that did not age well, even though I thought Joe Schoen was doing the right thing at the time, did not age well for Joe Schoen. So I wonder what the philosophy is going to be. But Brandon Beane just told you, hey, we moved on. It doesn't mean that we can't revisit it and can't get something done. But right now, I would not expect that to be like first and goal, ball in the 3. It seems like, it's first and 10, and you got the ball at your own 25-yard line right now when it comes to James Cook getting a new contract. All righty, we'll take a break. We'll do a little overreaction, proper reaction on the other side. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, the Aaron Rodgers saga may be finally coming to an end. According to reports out of Pittsburgh, owner Art Rooney II said he had a good feeling about Rodgers, and signs are pointing in the direction of him signing with the Steelers. The dynamic kickoff is here to stay, with touchbacks this year coming out of the end zone to the 35-yard line. And the overtime rules are now consistent with those of the playoffs, with each team getting a chance to possess the ball at least once. Owners tabled the discussion for the tush push until they can gather more information. Buzz Williams moving on again. After 6 years at Texas A&M, the 52-year-old is the new head coach at Maryland, quickly replacing Kevin Willard, who left for Villanova. Williams led the Aggies to the NCAA tournament the last 3 years. He was there for 6. The NBA handed out disciplinary actions for Sunday's brawl between the Pistons and Timberwolves. Detroit's Isaiah Stewart got a 2-game ban, while the 4 others ejected, including Dante DiVincenzo, each suspended for 1 game. 1 game separates the 7th-place Wolves and the 5th-seeded Grizzlies. Memphis will host Golden State, which is right in between the two teams, while Minnesota will tip off tonight in Denver. I'm Rich Afric.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X. Our handle is INF Sports Network. That's INF Sports Network on X.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Another NFL week is complete, which means it's another week to freak out about your favorite team. Which takes are truly crazy.
But sometimes a game can be so bad, it's almost good. You know what I'm saying? No.
And which are so crazy, they might be right.
He's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
Zach lets you know in this week's edition of Overreaction or Proper Reaction.
Alrighty, overreaction, proper reaction time. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Stu, what do we got cooking here?
All right, so what the Browns do at quarterback is, of course, one of the biggest questions remaining this offseason. The most likely scenarios are drafting a quarterback at number 2 or trading for Kirk Cousins. However, as we mentioned earlier in the show, according to Tony Grossi of ESPN Cleveland, there might be a third option.
They really like Kenny Pickett and is confident that he could be the starting quarterback on day one, game one. 3 times today, Kevin Stefanski came back to saying, I'm really excited about Kenny. Kenny's our guy. Kenny's our guy. Okay, so if you accept that, okay, it probably means they're passing on a quarterback at number 2. Because if you picked a quarterback at 2, you wouldn't be building up Kenny Pickett at all. So my other take off of this is that I really think they like Travis Hunter as their pick at 2 if they stay there.
So overreaction or proper reaction, it is too soon to give up on former first-round pick Kenny Pickett as an NFL starter.
I think that's an overreaction. I'm not going to sit here and anticipate that Kenny Pickett's going to be a long-term starting quarterback in this league. Stories like Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, even though we've seen 2 of those stories recently, they're anomalies. So I look at a Kenny Pickett. He was picked, 19th or 20th overall in the draft? I think 19th. He wasn't even viewed to be that great coming out of college. Now, he had a wonderful season his last year at Pitt. Won ACC Player of the Year. But even though, right, Kenny Pickett's a nice guy and all that stuff, and he had a good career in college, with how his career has gone so far, should I be holding my breath that Kenny Pickett's going to be the stud? No, he's going to be a backup until he's given an opportunity, rather it's because they're waiting to go to somebody else or injury, where he'll get another opportunity to play. And it's how much can you move the needle and how much can you change the perception about you when you get those opportunities. But I'm not going to go into the season actually thinking that the Browns are going to have Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback.
As we mentioned, the future of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta is very much up in the air. While the team exercised his $10 million contract bonus, he could still get traded, with the most likely destination, of course, being Cleveland. Now, yesterday, Raheem Morris admitted that a trade isn't out of the question, saying, quote, if it's something that's good for both of us, we certainly would like to see that happen, end of quote. Overreaction or proper reaction, it would be better for Atlanta to trade Cousins than keep him as a backup.
What are you going to get for him? That's the question. I don't think you're getting some great pick. I don't. Now, the money here is a big factor. So you try to save as much money as possible by getting rid of him, but you already owe him so much money guaranteed. I would, at this rate, I keep him. I would. I don't think they're going to keep him. I do believe eventually he'll probably go to Cleveland, especially if they're not going to draft Shedeur Sanders and then probably take Travis Hunter. Then Cleveland would make sense with Stefanski. But I would actually keep him for this reason and this reason only. Michael Penix Jr. should be a really good quarterback. I like Michael Penix Jr. I do question him a little bit when on the intermediate throws that he makes, and you saw that be a problem a little bit up against Michigan as well. Will Johnson with that interception. But before Michael Penix Jr. got to Washington, he had a bevy of injuries. So you're already paying the quarterback a pretty penny in Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't mind having him on your roster for another season in case of Michael Penix Jr. suffers an injury, which maybe he will, maybe he won't. Hopefully he doesn't. But he is an injury-prone quarterback. So it would be better for Atlanta to trade Cousins than keep him as a backup. I would actually say overreaction to that is how I'd answer it.
Nick Sirianni entered 2024 on the hot seat, but things have certainly changed after hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Now, Sirianni is cemented among the best coaches in the league, but is entering the final year of his contract. However, he doesn't seem too concerned that he hasn't received an extension yet from the Eagles.
Yeah, these things will take care of themselves. I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, and so I don't really get into contracts with anybody. I'm not going to get into it on this one, and so it'll happen. It'll take care of itself.
Overreaction or proper reaction? The Eagles should give Sirianni an extension before the season.
Absolutely. Proper reaction. And I was a critic of Nick Sirianni at the end of the 2023 season. Big critic. And early on in 2024, it did not look like it was going his way. Guy just won a Super Bowl. What are we doing here? The Eagles should give Sirianni an extension for this season. Guy's entering the final year of his contract. He just won a Super Bowl. He was just in the hot seat. Now he's entering the final year of his contract. He just won a Super Bowl, right? He won a Super Bowl. Pay him. Let's go. What's taking so long? Absolutely. Proper reaction. I think he will.
Hard Knocks has expanded its criteria for which teams can be forced to participate. Now, under the previous rules, only the Falcons, Titans, Seahawks, and Panthers were eligible for this upcoming season.
Falcons, Titans, Seahawks, and Panthers. I know this is going to change. I guess I'd be most interested in the Falcons out of that group.
All right, so...
is that the question?
that is the question. Despite the much wider field, overreaction, proper reaction, of the 4 teams eligible under the old rules, the Titans would be the most interesting.
Overreaction? What are you selling me on? Maybe Cam Ward being there? Outside of that, what else? Callahan? Oh, and Will Levis is still there, so maybe they'll have a blow up on the side. We already seen that. So, no. Tennessee would not be the most interesting. That is an overreaction. You could actually argue Falcons, Titans, Seahawks, and Panthers. Seahawks would be more interesting with Sam Darnold. Falcons would be more interesting with the Kirk Cousins drama. You got Bijan Robinson. You got Michael Penix Jr. I would even say the Titans could be the least interesting team out of this group. Because, okay, there's some intrigue with Cam Ward, but nothing else. You got the Bryce Young storyline, and can we find out whatever happened to David Tepper? Because he was like the most vocal and obnoxious NFL owner, and we haven't heard from him since, so maybe he's learning something. So I would say that Tennessee could be the least interesting option out of those 4. All right, next question.
NFL owners voted on rule changes for next season early this morning, although they did decide to table the tush-push conversation to later this spring.
Do you hear that?
What is that?
Sean McDermott and Matt LaFleur. Wah! Give me a break, losers.
So one rule that did pass was the change to the overtime rules that will now mimic the postseason and give each team at least 1 possession. Overreaction or proper reaction? You like the new overtime rule?
Sure, because at least there's some consistency. So I'll go proper reaction there. But I'm not sitting here like losing sleep if they didn't pass this. But I would go proper reaction. I'm more in favor of this.
So while the regular season overtime rule did change, one rule that was rejected was the Lions' proposal that would eliminate an automatic first down for the 5-yard defensive holding and illegal contact penalties. Overreaction or proper reaction? You're glad that this rule did not pass.
I am proper reaction because I think there's too much of a gray area when you look at pass interference, illegal contact, and then holding, especially holding. So it wouldn't be an automatic first down for defensive holding and illegal contact penalties. I think you got to be disciplined in those moments. So I'm fine that this rule did not pass. I would actually go proper reaction on that.
All right, and last one, finally, one other big change for next year involves the referees. The league is going to use the Hawkeye technology to measure first downs rather than using the chain gang. The chain gang will remain on the sideline, but only in a backup role. However, this rule won't change how the ball is spotted, only how distance is measured. Overreaction or proper reaction, you'd rather keep the chain gang in the game rather than using this new system.
So you're telling me I may never get Gene Steratore ever going out there with an index card again and seeing if it's a first down or not? Or you're not going to see some guy trot out and pull out the chains and see if you get a first down? That's a great suspense moment. You're telling me now they're just going to basically have some technology that shows you if it's a first down or not? Is that what you're telling me, Stu?
Basically, yeah. That's it.
It's a sad day. You know, I'm having a moment of silence. Thank you. The music was a little bit inconsiderate right there, but jeez. It's like when they're honoring someone and you have someone scream out in the crowd. That's a sad day. The chain gang is now going to be a backup. They're going to be the two deep on the depth chart. But all kidding aside, when you ask me, you'd rather keep the chain gang in the game than use the new system, I would actually go overreaction. This has been something, right? The technology with to show the first downs and everything. I once heard this guy, Alan Amron, who I think he claims that he invented the Post-it or the sticky note, whatever you want to call it. He first talked to me about this at a Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl where the lights went out in New Orleans. Think about how long that is. When the lights went out in New Orleans, it was the Ravens and the 49ers. They've been talking about going to this technology. I was in college. I'm now in my 30s. You know, just being 30. I now have gray hair. It's like, it took you this long to do something this simple, that antiquated? So, yes, even though I do enjoy seeing like a fat guy run out with the chains and catch his breath and then say if it's a first down or not, I like that old system. But yes, I am more in favor of the new system than the old school system of this. And it probably saves some time, too. All right, we'll break. When we come on back, the 49ers are going all out on Brock Purdy. Is he worth it? And who are some other quarterbacks that we'll debate if they're worth it or not? And Elijah Roberts, SMU defensive end, getting ready for the draft. He's going to join us 25 minutes from now for a little prospect profile.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, away we go. Hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Elijah Roberts going to join us, a little prospect profile coming up 20 minutes from now. Had a nice last 2 years at SMU, turning around that program with the Mustangs. So Jed York spoke to the media the other day. All the NFL personnel are speaking to the media with the owners meeting. And Jed York said that we're basically choosing to give Brock Purdy a big deal over signing other free agents and having to then also let other guys go as well. Here was the owner of the 49ers.
When you're in a world where everybody is watching the NFL the first week of free agency, or at least the first 3 days of free agency, it's a frenzy, right? Like you see a huge spike in social following and things like that because it's something to get engaged in. And when you're not overly active in that space, it gets easy to say, you don't want to win. And you don't just have to do things the first 3 days in free agency. I don't know that as we looked at the board, that there was somebody that we felt made that type of an impact more so than making the decision to try to go pay Brock. And again, like you can't pay somebody quarterback money and have all of the other talent around the way we had. Now you have to start filling that piece with the draft.
Can I tell you what's odd about this? If you just parachuted into your car right now and you just heard that audio, you would think the deal's already done for Brock Purdy. They still don't have the deal done. Now, they are setting the stage to get the deal done, by not only the way that they're talking about it, but the players that they moved on to open up enough cap space where they're going to allocate a number that starts with a 5 to go hand out per year to Brock Purdy. Because at the absolute low end, it's going to be $51 million a year. Here are the quarterbacks per year who at least make $50 million a season. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott. The names that make me think that Brock Purdy is going to eclipse $50 million. Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love. Those are the first two. And Jordan Love makes $55 a year, and Trevor Lawrence makes $55 a year. Brock Purdy has had more success in the NFL than both Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence. Now, it doesn't mean that you have a valid argument, and you don't have a valid argument by saying, Brock Purdy is a system quarterback. Now, as Joe Montana told us at the Super Bowl, there's a lot of quarterbacks who are paid a lot more than Brock Purdy who have accomplished a lot less. So it doesn't really matter what your view is. Newsflash, all great quarterbacks or all quarterbacks need great players around them to win games. This is a team sport. Now, I do think there's still a fair argument to say what Brock has done so far is significant. Brock Purdy deserves to be the guy in San Francisco, but let's say Christian McCaffrey doesn't get back to good health. You no longer have Deebo Samuel. What's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk now? What are we going to get from George Kittle? An offensive line now that's getting older in San Francisco. You lose some players on the defensive side of the ball. It's one thing to give the money to Brock Purdy. But when you have to trim the fat of the rest of the roster and get rid of other players that you had a lot of success with, is Brock Purdy then going to be able to take his game to that next level that reflects not just getting the money of a franchise quarterback, but then doing the responsibilities and the way that we envision a franchise quarterback? That's a great unknown. That's something I can't sit there and tell you that Brock Purdy is absolutely a franchise quarterback. Now, do I like what Brock Purdy's accomplished in this league? Yes. So far, yes. But he's good. Can he be very good? He's good. Can he not only be very good, can he be great? Because when we enter this season, I don't think Brock Purdy right now is viewed as a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's going to be paid like one, though, because they will never really get the deal done. He better, when we do top 10 lists this time next year, he better be in the top 10. Because if he's not, well, then you didn't live up to your end of the bargain. So Samter has compiled the list. If we could fire up a little NFL music right here. And Elijah Roberts going to join us, former SMU defensive end, little prospect profile coming up in 15 minutes from now. Samter, you give me the quarterback. I'll tell you how much they're making a year, and then I'll tell you if they're worth it or not. So give me the quarterback.
All right, let's start with the number 1 seed out of the NFC last year, the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff.
He makes $53 million a year. Jared Goff has done a lot of good things in Detroit. But at the end with the Rams, what happened? Didn't play well in that Super Bowl. Sean McVay said we needed another signal call. They brought in Matthew Stafford. They won a Super Bowl. And then he goes to Detroit. He's done a lot of good. But this was supposed to be the year. This was supposed to be the year where the Lions were going to go to the Super Bowl. They control their own destiny. The road to the Super Bowl traveled through Ford Field. And coming off a bye, up against the Commanders, Jared Goff threw not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions. Jared Goff is a very good quarterback, but I still don't feel like Jared Goff's going to win a Super Bowl in this league. And that's what he's paid to do right now in Detroit. So for $53 million, where the standard is in Detroit, yeah, I understand Detroit could have a lot worse. But I don't think Jared Goff is worth $53 million a year. I don't.
You mentioned him before, Jordan Love.
Yes, I would like to see Jordan Love with a number 1 wide receiver. I still think that Jordan Love has to accomplish a lot more in this league to show that he's actually worth it. But considering the circumstances, and also you got to remember the situation he took over for Aaron Rodgers. And I think Jordan Love so far has done a good job. And I do think there's a lot of potential there with Jordan Love. But just like how I feel like with Lamar Jackson, who is so much more of an accomplished quarterback, right? I am not comparing him to Lamar Jackson, but for years I said, if the Ravens want to go win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, they have to go get him a bona fide number one wide receiver. I'm still waiting for the Packers to do that with Jordan Love. But so far, I do think that Jordan Love, where his stock is right now, is going to be worth the money.
All right, let's move over to the AFC East. Tua Tagovailoa, is he worth what he's getting paid?
I think Tua this year, when he got hurt and how bad the Dolphins were, he showed that he is a lot more important to that team than I thought he was before the season. With that being said, Tua is injury prone. Tua does not have the strongest arm. Tua has not won a playoff game, and he's a $53 million a year quarterback. And I think you could argue if Tua is a top 10 quarterback in this league. I think the earliest you go with Tua is 8. And I'm not saying he's 8. But I do think that you can make the case that he is closer to a top 15 quarterback in this league and the 15th best quarterback in this league than he is to a top 10 quarterback in this league. So I do not think Tua is worth $53 million a year.
All right, now, after his amazing rookie year, C.J. Stroud seemed to either plateau, maybe even take a step back. He's still in his rookie deal, of course, so it's hard to say he's not worth that. But do you think he's going to be worth getting max kind of money?
Absolutely. I know he did not have a great season this past year. They lost Stephon Diggs to injury. Tank Dell also got hurt. The offensive line was a mitigated disaster. The Texans were a dumpster fire before C.J. Stroud got there. They made the playoffs the last 2 years and then won playoff games the last 2 seasons. C.J. Stroud is worth the money, and he will eventually get a fat, and I mean a fat contract.
Now, Justin Herbert showed a lot of talent, but couldn't actually put it all together, it seemed like, until last year. Do you think he's worth what he's getting paid?
You know, Justin Herbert is the 8th highest paid quarterback in football. So, like, if I just said $52 million a year, is he worth it? You know, I got be a debate. But when you put it into context that there are 7 quarterbacks in front of him that make more money, I'm still a believer in Justin Herbert. Now, he was brutal. He was terrible. He was god-awful in the playoffs last year. But I didn't think that Chargers team was a playoff team before the start of the season. I thought the Chargers were going to be pretty damn bad. So there's no more excuses for Justin Herbert. Him and Harbaugh need to work, and I do think they will eventually work, and I do believe that Justin Herbert is worth the money.
All right, we stay in the AFC West with another rookie coming off another big year, Bo Nix.
I think he's already worth the first-round pick that they used on him. And I thought it was way too early with him at 12. But if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, he would have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he was in the playoffs in year 1. And, man, that guy, I like Bo Nix at Oregon. I did not like him at Auburn. He has a bazooka for an arm. So, yeah, I do think the way I'll answer it was Bo Nix worth already the 12th overall pick in the draft. Yes, he was.
How about the reigning Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts?
He's underpaid. $51 million a year. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 quarterbacks in the NFL make more money than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has gone toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes twice and beat him once. Outplayed him both times. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes, right? We're talking about a Super Bowl MVP in Jalen Hurts. He is absolutely positively worth it.
How about our favorite quarterback with the greatest owner in all of football, Dak Prescott?
$60 million a year. He makes the most money per year out of any quarterback in the NFL. He is not worth it. I think you could argue at times if he's a top 10 quarterback. I do think he'll enter next season on most of those lists in the top 10 conversation. But Dak Prescott, with the injuries and his inability to win big playoff games, you're telling me he's making, like, if he was making $50 million a year, $10 million less, I say, you know what, he's worth it. Right, a top 10 salary in the NFL. But when you are number 1 and you make $5 more million a year than Joe Burrow and $5 more million a year than Josh Allen, you're not worth the money. Dak Prescott, not worth it.
Only quarterback in the NFL who makes more than Stu and I. It's crazy. How about Baker Mayfield with the Buccaneers?
He's underpaid. Baker Mayfield, $33.3 million a year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, because Sam Darnold slightly beats him out. He's the 18th highest paid quarterback in the NFL per year. Baker Mayfield's a top 10 quarterback in the league. So if he's the 18th highest paid quarterback per year in the average annual salary, and he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL with what he's done the last 2 years just seamlessly, replacing Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, touchdown Tampa Bay, touchdown Buccaneers, fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. Absolutely, Baker Mayfield is worth it as a quarterback.
All right, we were just talking about him and what the 49ers are likely to give Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy going to be worth a deal that gives him more than $50 million a year?
What do you think the actual number is going to be for Brock Purdy?
He's going to get more than Jordan Love. I'm going to say $54 million.
Well, more, that would be Jordan Love's 55 a year.
Oh, so then 56. I thought he was 51. 56 then.
So that would make him the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL per year.
Yeah, I think so.
Stu, what do you think the number is here for Brock Purdy?
My original thought was 54 as well.
Okay.
I'll stick with 54. I think slightly under Jordan.
Yeah, I don't think he's worth it. I don't. And I think when you're taking away some pieces around him, you're going to see some inconsistent play from Brock Purdy. So from Mr. Irrelevant to $55 million a year, maybe even $56 million a year, it's a heck of a story. Good for him. But do I think he's worth it? Do I think the Niners are going to win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy anytime soon? No, I do not.
It's kind of like Cam Ward going from incarnate word to number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant to...
You know what? If I'm a draft pick in this draft class, or the recent draft classes, I'm like, oh, let me go back to the days of Sam Bradford when you get that fat contract right out of the gate. Oh, a lot of those picks probably. That's like the one time where money hasn't aged well, where it's now less advantageous to be the number 1 overall pick than it would have been 10 years ago. Usually in the sports world, it's just money just goes up and up and up and up. That's a rare instance where it doesn't.
Well, how about if we stay in that same division as Brock Purdy? We'll go with Kyler Murray, former number 1 overall pick, Heisman Trophy winner.
And he makes $46.1 million a year. There was questions before the injury if he could be great. Now there's questions if he could be good. I don't think he's worth it. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. And also, some of the lack of effort concerns that you hear with him, with the playbook and, being a leader and things like that, I just don't think he's worth that money.
And last one, he just got his new deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Is Sam Darnold worth what the Hawks gave him over there?
So he's the 17th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Did I ever think Sam Darnold was going to be making $33.5 million a year this year when we started the season a year ago? No, I didn't. Now, they basically just guaranteed him $50 million, so it's really a one-year, $50 million year if they wanted it to be, because you get out of it and you only owe him $50 million, which for a quarterback, that's not the end of the world. I think it's a risk worth taking for the Seahawks, where it doesn't excite me as much because you moved off of Geno Smith. I thought they would have got someone better. But for $33.5 million a year, if you see the duration of the contract, for a placeholder, and that's what I think Sam Darnold is. I think he's a placeholder until they find someone better, and he's just a younger placeholder than Geno Smith. I begrudgingly would say that Sam Darnold's worth it in this front, just on base what the salary is. All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll do a little prospect profile next. Elijah Roberts, formerly of Miami and also SMU. He's going to join us as we get to learn a little bit more about him before the 2025 NFL Draft.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Combine is over and the 2025 NFL Draft is almost upon us.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams. The Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young. The Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence. The Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow.
Let's find out whose stock is falling and whose stock is rising.
Jackpot, baby!
And now it's time for the Zach Gelb Show to give you an inside look at some of the biggest draft prospects in this edition of Prospect Profile.
Alrighty, today we will highlight Elijah Roberts. Just wrapped up a really good career at SMU. Had 17 sacks with the Mustangs in the last 2 seasons. Before SMU, he was at Miami. and he's kind enough to join us right now. We are 23 days away from the NFL draft getting underway in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Elijah Roberts is here with us on the Zach Gelb Show. Elijah, appreciate you doing this. How you been?
I've been good, man. Appreciate you guys having me, for sure.
So what has this process been like for you? You're getting closer and closer, a few weeks away from the NFL draft, right? You went through the combine. You've had some workouts. Just with it getting closer and closer, just what are you feeling right now?
Man, just been feeling a little bit of everything in between nervousness, anxious, excited, ready. You just kind of feel a little bit of everything. But I mean, the most probably the biggest feeling I am feeling is just, blessed, kind of just happy, kind of just ready for it,
Yeah, and you have the tape, right? We know what you did the last 2 years at SMU. Sometimes I find the draft process to be insufferable because someone could have really good tape and it's like, oh, he doesn't interview well, or oh, he didn't do this well at his pro day or his combine, and you get away from the tape, which I don't like. But for people that haven't watched you play, when they turn on the tape, what do you hope they see from Elijah Roberts?
Man, hope they see a really good football player, like a guy who brings a lot of versatility, a smart player, don't really mess up my assignment a lot, bring a lot of physicality to my game, and I just do a lot of different things well at different positions. So I just want people to see kind of that, like I'm a football guy, because I am, I really do love football. So I kind of want people to just see that and kind of pop out.
The last 2 years, so you started out your college journey at Miami. You were there for 3 years. Then you transferred over to SMU. We saw the production just increase. Like I said, 17 sacks the last 2 seasons. When you look back at what you were able to accomplish and prove at SMU, how do you kind of put it into words what that all meant to you?
Man, I feel like it meant everything to me, not only to me, but to the program, going to SMU these past 2 years, me and all the other guys who transferred and the guys who were there who decided to stay under a new staff, we were just able to take SMU to new heights, just new levels, So just being able to be a part of that, being able to be a part of the first ever college football 12-team playoff, being able to win our conference our first year there, and then being able to play for our conference championship in our second year in a new conference, which is, the Power 4 conference that everybody kind of, didn't really know what to expect from SMU. And then just being able to go out there, go undefeated in the conference, make it to a conference championship, make it to the playoffs, all that stuff was just really, really fun to be a part of.
And you know how this works, Elijah Roberts, and it's so commonplace now where you pick a college and then you transfer and you see more production in the place that you transferred to. But when people have asked you, how do you explain the first 3 years at Miami and maybe why it didn't work the way that you thought it was going to, what do you kind of say to them?
Yeah, I just say, it just, just kind of wasn't the, perfect situation for me. First year, there were a lot of guys there, played behind a couple draft picks, a couple first rounders, so kind of understood it. And then, every other year after that, it was either a new coach, just kind of getting into new systems every year. I mean, wouldn't say that held me back. It was just more of, kind of just getting lost in the depth chart, lost in the roster.
And why was SMU the right fit for you? Just wondering.
Man, SMU just gave me a chance to, just be on the field. All I really wanted to do was just be on the field as much as possible, because I honestly felt like the best way for me to grow was just getting game reps, live reps, being able to mess up a few times so I can correct it, being able to just, be counted on, being a guy who had to make a play, who needed to make that play for the team. And I felt like that pressure, I wouldn't say pressure, but that kind of responsibility of me as a player kind of just brought out the best in me.
Right, you were highly touted. There's a reason why a player like yourself winds up at a school like Miami. But when you felt like you had to leave and that you went to SMU, were you always confident that you could still be the player that we saw the last 2 seasons, which was a very successful one?
Yes, sir, for sure. Going into every season, even at Miami, I always felt like this could be the year. This could be the year that, I kind of break. I kind of, just pop out. I just felt like, every offseason I put in a lot of work. So I was just really ready. It was just more going to SMU. I was just more ready than I ever felt, just being able to, especially after that first spring there, after knowing, okay, I'm the guy, I'm going to be starting here, role has definitely increased a ton from when I was at Miami. So just being able to just know going into the season, man, I'm ready for this, So that was probably the biggest thing for sure.
And obviously, right, Rhett Lashley was at Miami, and then he finds his way to SMU, and he becomes their head football coach, has been there for the last few seasons. What kind of coach is he, and what has he kind of done for your career?
Man, Coach Red, he's a great coach. He's honestly a player's coach. Like a lot of coaches say they are, but he honestly really is. He really like honestly takes the criticism of the team or team captains. I would say, he really pays attention to what we have to say and what we have to offer. So just him being able to listen to us and then also being able to, just kind of like go with the flow of the season. Season's long. It's a long season that we played last year for sure. Going into the playoffs, conference championship, we played a few extra games. So he was honestly, he took care of us off the field, and then we took care of him honestly off the field as well. So having a mature team that we had, and then having a great coach like Coach Red, SMU is going to be in a good spot for a long time.
Yeah, and that was a crazy conference championship game that you were in. If you guys didn't make that comeback, I was kind of worried they were going to leave you out of the college football playoff.
Yes.
When you found out that you guys got in, was it just like a sigh of relief, or were you guys worried that they weren't going to call your name?
Man, it was definitely like it was definitely a little bit of both. Everybody was kind of staying up, just trying to see where we're going to be placed, or if we're going to be placed at all. So it was definitely a little bit of both. Definitely a little sigh of relief, and then kind of still kind of mad about not being able to just know we're going to be in, just from winning the conference championship. So that was kind of a lot of feelings going into it.
Talking to Elijah Roberts right now, getting set for the NFL draft. Do you follow like these mock drafts? Like there's so much where you're in the conversation. One day people could say your stock's rising. The next day people could say your stock's falling. I know it changes so much, but is it just human nature to just check out where people are projecting you to go?
No, sir. Me personally, no. I try not to, even like open social media because you might get tagged in something that you don't want to see. So you just kind of try to not listen to it. I know a lot of guys who are in the league and they always tell me, like, don't even pay attention to it because you see something here and they end up getting drafted here. You can get drafted to a team you probably never, expected. So you kind of just try to stay away from all that stuff. I know I probably have family members or friends and stuff like that who look at it though for sure.
So, when you look at the type of football fan you were, Elijah Roberts, growing up, what type of football fan were you? Like, who was your team?
Man, I was just a huge football guy. My pops, he's the hugest, he's the biggest Cowboy fan in the world. He's always been a Cowboy fan. So, we did used to watch a lot of Cowboys games growing up, but definitely, as I got older, I for sure just watched a lot of football, whether that was college, NFL, whatever the case may be.
Who were some of the edge rushers? Who were some of the football players that you grew up really enjoy watching?
Man, well, like I said, I used to watch the Cowboys a lot, so definitely like a DeMarcus Ware growing up, and then I used to like to watch a lot of offense when I was younger for sure. So a lot of guys, like a lot of good running backs for sure. But as I got older, it was definitely more just watching edge rushers. So now for sure, like a DeMarcus Lawrence, a guy like Cam Jordan, a guy like Chris Jones, or just guys who know how to play the position really, really well in all phases of the game.
How do you look back at the combine experience, Elijah?
Man, it was a great experience. It was honestly really, really good. It was something that you kind of only want to do once. It was very long. It was a very long week, with all the medical stuff and all that stuff. But it was honestly really good. Being a kid playing football your whole life and being able to honestly be at the combine, see the NFL logo everywhere. It's on your clothes. It's on your chest. It was so good. It was really good.
Yeah, it's got to kind of be a surreal experience because you grow up having this dream. You go to college. You have a 5-year career at college. And it's like, all right, just get through these 3 weeks, and then boom, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know when you're going to go, but you're going to be in the NFL coming up at the end of the month. It's got to be pretty neat, right?
Yeah, it's really good. You get excited for it, but then you just realize, man, after I get drafted, it's back to kind of being a college freshman, so you kind of have to get back in that mode of just kind of have to work your way up, work your way on a 53-man roster, work your way up to kind of start and plan whatever the role the team has for you. So it's kind of, it's bittersweet. It's not like a negative to it at all. You definitely are, excited for it, but you just got to know once the next month comes, it's time to work, for sure.
Where are you visiting? I know you have these top 30 visits coming up. Have you any scheduled so far?
Yes, sir. Next week I'll be taking 2 30 visits, one to the Steelers and one to the Eagles.
No, that'd be pretty cool if you landed Philadelphia. They need another pass. I know they have a lot of good pass rushers, but they just lost Brandon Graham. That's got to be a pretty unique opportunity, right?
Yes, sir. You saw what they did in the Super Bowl, man. 7 sacks without blitzing? That'll be great to go in that room and learn from those guys. They haven't won it on the biggest stage, so being able to go there would be honestly really, really good.
And this is the neat part, right? I know you got to be professional when you walk into a locker room, but let's say if it was Pittsburgh, They got TJ Watt, right? That's either the best or second best pass rusher in the NFL, either TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. Could you imagine being able to learn and get your NFL journey started with TJ Watt in the same locker room as you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, being able to play with a guy like that and just learn from him, I mean, man, like, it'll be crazy. Like, you'll kind of look at him like, like, is this even real? Because you're watching a guy who you watched on TV, who's really good at what he does. But, I mean, it'll honestly be a blessing because you'll be able to learn what he learns or learn what he knows, I would say, and then just being able to kind of add that to your game. I mean, it'll be hard to come and mimic what he does. He's a different kind of player, but for sure.
So let's say I'm an NFL general manager, and I say, Elijah Roberts, I'm on the fence of drafting you. But why should I pick you? Why should I use a draft pick on you? What would your answer be to me?
Man, I'm a great dude on and off the field. Like I said earlier, I mean, I'm a football guy. Like, I love ball. I love to kind of just win. I love to see other teammates succeed. And then just as a player, I mean, I'm a very versatile guy, very physical guy. I could do it inside, outside. I mean, I played everywhere across the D-line in my past 5 years in college. So, I mean, anything you want in a player, I mean, I'm not going to bring any trouble to your locker room. I've been in leadership roles plenty of times before my football career. So being able to come in and kind of learn and then hopefully one day just be a leader myself.
But what do you do for fun outside of football? What are some hobbies that you have?
Man, after this, I'll probably get on the game for a little bit and then just go work out again later. I mean, there's not really much to do right now, but yeah, I'm kind of more of a homebody. And then during the offseason, I really just get with family and we kind of just take trips.
All right, now we get to the serious questions. You have a cheat meal. What are you eating?
Cheat meal. Well, my pops is a chef, so if I have a cheat meal, I'm definitely going to him and I'm telling him to cook something good. I like food, so I mean, honestly, anything. If it's a cheat meal, anything fried, like some catfish or something like that, for sure.
But what's the best thing that your dad cooks up?
Oh man, anything. He's been cooking for over 20 years now. Well, his whole life, so maybe longer than that. But
now this is a big question we have on the show.
Yes, sir.
You have chicken wings. You go ranch or you go blue cheese?
Oh, ranch for sure.
Oh my God. No, you gotta go blue cheese. You gotta go blue cheese. I gotta take you off my draft board now. I can't have you drafted with ranch. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's crazy because I used to be a huge blue cheese guy, but then when I got my girlfriend a few years ago, she loves ranch, and then it kind of just made me kind of gravitate towards ranch. But I used to be a blue cheese guy, but I'm definitely a ranch guy now.
All right, we'll blame it on the girlfriend. I'll give you a pass on that one. You got to make sure that the girlfriend is happy. Last thing I'll ask you, I know that you weren't there at Miami when Cam Ward was there. I don't know if you still got friends on the team that you still talk to. I know you didn't go up against him this year, but Cam Ward, right, in the ACC, you're obviously familiar with him. What are the things that you hear about Cam Ward and what he could maybe be as an NFL quarterback?
Man, just hearing from guys who are on the team, who I knew, I just heard that he's a dog. Like, he honestly came in and he kind of helped, like, change the culture of the Miami locker room. He's a dog. He's an alpha male. And as a quarterback, I mean, honestly, if you got a quarterback who's an alpha, who's a vocal leader and leads by example, and then you got to see how he plays on the field. I mean, honestly, I feel like any GM, any locker room would be great to have him for sure.
Is there one quarterback that you kind of have jotted down that you're like, okay, I get to the NFL, I'm playing this guy, I got to find a way to sack him?
Man, who's ever first on the schedule, whoever we play first, whatever team I'm on, honestly. I'm not really – I mean, I love, honestly, watching good quarterback play, but it's not like a specific guy. Who's ever first on that schedule for whatever team gets me, for sure.
Absolutely love it. Well, good luck to you and also your family. We appreciate you jumping on board for a few minutes today, Elijah. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me, man.
You got it. Good luck. All right, there he is, Elijah Roberts from SMU, getting set to hear his name called in the NFL draft coming up in 3 weeks. It is a Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We got one more segment to play, and we will get to the biggest non-Aaron Rodgers storyline remaining in this offseason. We'll go around the room and give you our answers on that one. But update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
But there is another Aaron Rodgers story today as he's running out of options, and the Steelers appear to be a good fit for him. His owner, Art Rooney II, said he had a good feeling about the four-time MVP, and signs are pointing in the right direction of Rodgers signing. Six-time Pro Bowler Calais Campbell isn't ready for retirement. The 38-year-old is headed back to Arizona for a second tour of duty with the Cardinals on a one-year deal, going back to the team that drafted him in the second round in 2006. The tush push has been tabled for now until more information can be found. The dynamic kickoff remains in place with a slight modification for next year. A touchback will be brought out to the 35-yard line, and the overtime rules have been changed so that each team has a chance to have the ball just as it is in the playoffs. Maryland has moved quickly to fill its coaching vacancy. The school has named Buzz Williams of Texas A&M their new head coach. Williams was in College Station for 6 years and led the Aggies to the NCAA tournament in each of the last 3. Baseball, the defending champion Dodgers have opened the season with 6 straight wins and go for lucky 7 tonight against the Braves. I'm Rich Allen.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. We're the Backstreet Boys, and you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again.
Did any of you guys get got today? Because it's April Fool's Day. Stu, you see anything on social media that got you?
Honestly, no.
No? You're
No.
savvy? Samter, did you get got today at all?
For a second, I got mini got.
From what?
I got mini got from Tiger freaking Woods. Tiger freaking Woods.
No, so he had the Achilles injury. So he ruptured his Achilles, and Tiger Woods tweets out today. I just had this up. That's what I was looking at, which made me ask the question. I did not get got in it. But he said, I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, the sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, plus the explosive lifts, my doctors and trainers have me ready to play at the Masters next week. Can't wait. See y'all on the course. 8.9 million views. And then Tiger said with another 4.4 million views, P.S. April Fools, my Achilles is still a mess. Let me tell you, it's kind of funny but sad for Tiger. Because, there's no way the old Tiger would joke about this. The new Tiger's like, all right, my career, most impactful golfer ever, most entertaining golfer ever. I'm probably never going to win anything of significance again. And I had another unfortunate situation where he ruptured his Achilles, right? At this point, how much more can you watch Tiger recently? He could look like vintage Tiger for 3 or 4 holes, but he struggles to get through a round, let alone 4 days at a tournament. And now you have another injury. But I wonder if Tiger came up with this on his own, or if someone else is in his ear and is like, hey, let's put this out there. It'd be kind of funny. First comment, you would still make the cut, Tiger. So, yes. You actually thought that he went through some TO, like voodoo magic, and he was going to be able to get there on the course coming up next week?
I didn't have enough time to really process it. I saw that, and then I saw his April Fools immediately after. So I saw it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh wait, never mind. There was one that really, really, really got me. Mm-hmm. A really bad got me moment. And I actually sent this in the Slack group, and I go, let's go Devils. Because the Sun Devils, the Arizona State Sun Devils, teased a new era, a maroon field, kind of like the blue turf at Boise.
Oh, you thought it was real?
I thought it was real.
It's at least passable.
It looks so cool, the maroon field.
So you think they should do it?
I totally do. So what happened was, now it's an April Fool's thing. Everyone in the Valley, including all the local radio stations, are like, we need to do this. This looks amazing.
Do you remember? I think this is the greatest April Fool's prank ever. Do you remember Kyle Kendrick when they told him that he was getting traded to Japan for Kobayashi?
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was great.
And he did the whole press conference. He's like, I can't believe I'm getting traded to Japan. And then they were like, dude, we're just messing with you. Were you guys big pranksters as kids? Stu, I could see you like pranking Gallo or something. Were you not a big prankster?
Oh, yeah. I would. Yeah.
Okay. Samter, are you a big prankster? You could be a weasel, right?
Weasel, yes. Prankster, no. Halloween, we like to have our fun, but otherwise not really.
So a good friend of mine, this guy name is Andy. Andy came into our sleepaway camp, right? He was like second in command or something, like hired outside in. So like the new guy like that, you know, and you have so much power, just naturally, like sometimes people won't like you just because it's like, oh, you're coming into our turf and all that stuff. Very nice guy, though. It's like friends with him. So he could be a little boisterous, right? Like big personality. So he took his first off day. And I was a fan of his, but it's like, all right, we got to like show this guy like who's really boss. So he had like a cabin at the camp. We spent the entire day lining up plastic cups and filling them up with water in his entire cabin. Like I'm talking about in the showers, surrounding the toilets. Every square foot of the cabin was filled with water cups. Then he came back and he opened up the door and a few of them fell over. And he had to tiptoe to his bed just to get into bed. And he kept on knocking down some of the cups. And then the next day he woke up and had a bunch of kids just basically take out all the water cups out of the cabin. I saw photos of it. It's a very good prank. But that was probably the best practical joke that I've ever played on somebody. Anyway, it is April Fool's Day. So this is a day where they're like, don't do anything. Don't say anything on the radio because there's a bunch of legalities that we can't get into. Let's hear from Art Rooney II, though. These were his comments at the owners' meetings on Aaron Rodgers.
Nothing new on the Aaron Rodgers front. You know, we'll see what happens, and hopefully we'll know something soon.
Are you content to wait?
Well, not forever, but a little while longer.
Did you envision it taking this long and playing out the way that it has?
No, didn't envision it taking this long, no.
There have now been some photos and videos of him throwing with DK Metcalf. Do you view it as a good thing? You're trying to read the tea leaves to figure out which way he's leaning? Things like that?
I mean, I would say it was a good sign that he wanted to do that. And, we keep hearing that, he's, I guess, headed in our direction. And so that seems to be, all signs are positive so far.
You know, sometimes when you say something and then something pops up on your social media feed. So we're just talking April Fool's pranks. There's an account, WLS69. So you can use your imagination. Breaking. Chargers wide receiver Quentin Johnson spotted practicing with new torpedo receiver gloves. The team is hopeful the gloves will help him actually catch a pass or two. And it's these fake, just giant yellow gloves going off the torpedo bats. But anyway, it's a good tweet on April Fool's Day. But you just heard Art Rooney II. How just depressed does he sound talking about and just no enthusiasm whatsoever about Aaron Rodgers? He's like, yeah, but it's trending that way that it's going to get done. Enough is enough. Like, just make the decision. I'll be curious. Do we have a new overnight host first here at the network, or does Aaron Rodgers make his decision? What do we find out about first? I'm actually optimistic it's the overnight, the new overnight host, compared to if Aaron Rodgers is going to be finally saying, okay, I'm going to accept that I'm going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Now, before I get ourselves in any trouble, let's get to this. Biggest non-Aaron Rodgers storyline the rest of the offseason. For me, it's where is Shedeur Sanders going to go? I think Cam Ward's going to go one. It feels like the sentiment in Cleveland today is that it's not going to be Shedeur Sanders at 2, but that's subject to change. I am most fascinated by where Shedeur Sanders is going to go. Right now, I'd pencil him in number 3 to the New York Giants. I would say Cam Ward 1 to Tennessee, Travis Hunter 2 to Cleveland, Shedeur 3 to the Giants, Abdul Carter, please cross the fingers, 4 to the New England Patriots, and then 5 Mason Graham to the Jaguars. That'd be my top 5. But if Cleveland says thanks but no thanks, if the Giants say thanks but no thanks, the Raiders then got to take Shedeur at 6. I think that would be really, really, really just stupid of the Raiders if Shedeur falls to 6 and then they don't take him. All righty, Stu. Biggest non-Aaron Rodgers storyline remaining in this offseason, minus Shedeur Sanders. Yours is?
Mine is Micah Parsons. Not where will he be? I think we all know he'll be a Cowboy, but how much will he sign for and when will he sign that deal? That's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
And the question is if they get a deal done. Because Jerry Jones today basically saying, who the heck is this agent? I don't need to talk to this agent. And he's one of the more successful agents in the NFL. I thought that was very disrespectful. And Micah Parsons, in the final year of his contract, Jerry loves to just expand, and delay these contract negotiations and actually getting a deal done. I do think they will get a deal done. I just don't know if they get a deal done this offseason, which then intensifies the drama even more. And we'll see how Micah Parsons does proceed from that. Samter?
Mine is similar to yours. It's more just what are the Browns going to do at quarterback? Are they going to trade for Kirk Cousins? Are they going to stick with Kenny Pickett? Are they going to draft Shador? Are they going to even try to move up to get Cam? Who knows? There's so many different questions. Are they going to draft a quarterback in the second, third, fourth round? To me, what the Browns do at quarterback, it answers so many questions. It answers the Kirk Cousins question. It answers the Shador question. It answers the Kenny Pickett question. It answers the Myles Garrett question. It answers a million questions. And the Deshaun Watson question.
Do you have any other questions there?
There's a lot of questions around there. That's why it's so interesting to me.
Is there a Kenny Pickett question?
I think there's always a Kenny Pickett question.
Here's the Kenny Pickett question. He was the only first-round quarterback 2 years ago.
California on line one.
I'm just saying, Kenny Pickett was a first-round quarterback for a reason. At some point, we said the same thing about Baker Mayfield and all these other guys who are like, oh, well, they're a bust. No, you know what? Sometimes you just need a year or two to kind of figure it out. So maybe Kenny Pickett has that time.
Who's starting week 1 for the Cleveland Browns? Stu, go.
Kirk Cousins.
Samter.
Same.
Yeah, I think so too. Kirk Cousins. All right, that will do it for the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Tomorrow we are off. Stu and I will be traveling to San Antonio. The show will be in San Antonio for the Final Four Thursday and Friday, broadcasting from the Convention Center. If you want to stop by and say hello, please do so. We'll have a bunch of coaches out there in San Antonio, and we're going to hopefully enjoy some barbecue. And Stu is sitting behind me tomorrow on the plane, so if I recline my chair, I apologize in advance, Stuart. Stu, thank you. Sam, thank you. Ack, thank you. Each and every one of you that are listening, watching us, we thank you as well. Big thanks to Elijah Roberts and also Kevin Hovde for joining us as well. Talk tomorrow, or Thursday.